If today feels more intense, not outwardly, but internally, like your awareness is sharpening and something is building beneath the surface, this isn't random. You're in the build-up. The full moon opened something. May 2nd began processing it, and now that awareness is deepening before the next shift arrives. Pluto is getting closer to its retrograde, and as it slows, everything becomes more focused, more precise, more revealing, more difficult to ignore. You may notice that your thoughts feel more direct today, less scattered, more concentrated, returning to the same realizations again and again, not randomly, but intentionally, because something is trying to become clear. At the same time, there's a subtle pressure building, not emotional like before, but internal, like something is tightening, focusing, preparing. You may feel less tolerance for distraction, less interest in surface-level thinking, more pulled toward depth, toward understanding something fully. And that intensity is not accidental, because over the next few days, the energy increases. Pluto turns retrograde, tension aspects activate, pressure becomes more visible, and today is the beginning of that rise. So if today feels sharper, more focused, like something is building beneath everything, it's because you've entered the phase where awareness turns into pressure.
What you're experiencing today is not just deeper thinking, it's pressure forming. Not from outside, but from within. Because Pluto is slowing down, preparing to turn retrograde. And when that happens, what is hidden becomes concentrated, focused, more visible, but at the same time more intense. You may notice that certain thoughts feel stronger today, more persistent, more specific, more difficult to move away from. That's not random. That's pressure building around something important, something that needs to be understood before the shift fully happens. At the same time, other energy is building too. Mars is approaching a square with Jupiter, which increases momentum, drive, action, the urge to push forward. And Mercury is moving toward a square with Pluto, which intensifies thinking, communication, perception. So what you get is a combination, deeper awareness and stronger impulses. And that combination creates tension, because you're seeing more while also feeling the urge to act on it. That's why today feels different, not chaotic, but pressurized, like something is building toward a point, because it is. The next few days bring activation, but today is where everything gathers, where awareness sharpens, where pressure forms, where you begin to feel what is about to move. So what you're experiencing is not just thought, it's preparation for intensity. This is where today becomes precise. Because when pressure builds, your instinct is to release it. The first trap is acting too early, trying to resolve what you're feeling before it fully forms, making decisions prematurely, speaking before clarity stabilizes, taking action just to reduce the pressure. Because pressure feels uncomfortable and action feels like relief. But today, clarity is still forming, and acting too soon disrupts what is trying to become clear. The second trap is letting intensity take control,
allowing thoughts to spiral, fixating on one idea, letting awareness turn into obsession. Because Pluto energy can narrow your focus, but without awareness, that focus becomes distortion. There's also a subtler pattern today, confusing urgency with importance, feeling like something must be done now just because it feels intense. But intensity does not always mean action. Sometimes it means attention. So the real calibration today is containment, holding what you're experiencing without needing to release it immediately, letting awareness build without forcing action, letting pressure exist without reacting to it. Because what makes today powerful is not what you do with the pressure, it's how clearly you understand what it's pointing to.
So, how do you move through this pressure without reacting too early and without getting overwhelmed? You contain and direct. Because today is not about release, it's about control. Start by slowing your response, not stopping your thoughts, but reducing the need to act on them. You don't need to resolve everything today. You don't need to make final decisions. You just need to stay aware of what is forming. You can also create structure for your attention. Instead of letting your mind move everywhere, keep it focused on what actually matters, on what continues to stand out. Because not everything needs your energy. Only what is consistent, only what keeps returning. You may also find it helpful to regulate your energy physically. Move, shift your environment, change your pace slightly. Not to escape the pressure, but to stabilize it. Because when pressure is balanced, it becomes clarity, not confusion. You can also delay action intentionally. If something feels urgent, pause, give it space, let it develop further. Because what is real will remain, and what is reactive will fade. So today, stay steady, stay aware, stay in control of your response, because that's what turns this pressure into something useful, instead of something overwhelming.
Let everything settle here. Not to remove the pressure, but to understand it. Because today was not about resolution, it was about formation. So take a breath. Steady, controlled, unforced. And notice what remains when you stop trying to act on everything you feel. There's focus here. Not complete, but sharpening. Because what you've been experiencing today is something taking shape. Not fully clear yet, but more defined than before. And that definition is enough for now. You don't need final answers. You don't need complete clarity. You just need to recognize what is consistently showing up. Because what repeats is what matters. What stays present is what's real. So as you move forward from here, stay with that. What continues to come up? What feels important, even without urgency? What remains, even when you step back? Let that guide your awareness. Without forcing action, without needing to resolve it immediately. Because what is forming now will become clear when the time is right. And if this helped you notice something, even slightly, return to it. Not to push it further, but to understand it more clearly.